Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for another edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including items from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, August 23rd Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in our Assistant City Manager, John Fitzpatrick. And John, we're happy that you could be here today.
Thanks, Andy. I'm happy to be here.
Okay. Well, we have quite a few different things to talk about today, and among them are people that live in Wisconsin know that summer is road construction season, and there's quite a bit of that going on right now. We were able to get our Oshkosh Media drone out flying so that we could take a look at some of these projects from overhead. One of the major ones that affects a lot of commuters is the Algoma Boulevard reconstruction.
Right. No, it's exciting because we are making some progress, and we've been fortunate with the good weather this summer to be able to not have as many setbacks as ordinarily takes place.
Right.
So I know that we are involved in paving already, which is exciting, between Woodland and Wisconsin, and pavement removal and excavation utility work is underway between Woodland Avenue and Congress.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're looking at right now, actually.
Right. Mm-hmm. And also I know concrete paving is scheduled between High and Algoma on the vacated Blackhawk area, so that'll be nice. And I know folks at the university would like to have this all complete before school gets going.
I'm sure they would.
Mm-hmm. So we're doing our best to try to move this along as quickly as possible, but we really appreciate the traveling public's patience with this. I think it's been challenging with a variety of different detours in that area, but I think it's working out pretty well, and it's going to be super nice when it's all finished.
Right. And here we can actually see some of the new concrete pavement that's been placed.
Right. In the university area. So it's going to be really nice. It's been a long time coming, and I know that in discussions we've had with people at the university, they're very excited to have this all reconstructed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure. Right. It was certainly needed, for sure.
Yep. So. Yes, for sure.
Well, and then also over on the east side of Oshkosh, we have some work going on over at Rosalia Street.
Right.
And we're taking a look here. We also have some concrete that's been placed.
Yeah, I know it's, for people that don't necessarily manage the construction schedules or have concerns about that, they might think, this is you're excited about this, that concrete's going down. But yeah, we are excited because sometimes in the past, if we've had some real difficult weather, it pushes our ability to pave into, the fall, and, right on the cusp of winter, that can be a little bit dicey, especially if we have cold weather. With the concrete. So this is more ideal to be able to get going on this stuff at this time of the year in August. It's really a good thing for our contractors and for us to be able to put down a high quality product, and I think it helps with the long-term viability. So we're very excited to have these projects moving along.
And over at Rosalia Street, we also one of the important parts of that project is that there's a new water line that was installed underneath the road there to carry water from the water filtration plant.
Yes.
So that's an important component. People don't always realize that a lot of the important parts of these projects are underneath the road.
Absolutely. We use a model now where we kind of think about roadway improvements in a three-dimensional manner. So it's not just the surface distress that people are most familiar with. When they're driving around, they're like, hey, why isn't the city fixing this road? Because it's in pretty poor shape. We want to kind of coordinate our efforts to make sure that we address, all of the infrastructure underneath this, the sewers, the storm sewers, all that stuff.
Sure.
Because unfortunately, we do have some pretty old infrastructure, and we want to maximize our ability to improve areas not only at the surface level but also underneath, and be the most cost effective in terms of how we're planning these projects and constructing them. We don't want to construct a new road and then have to dig it up because the sewer is failing.
Right.
So that's a little insight into some of the thought processes behind how these projects are decided upon, and also we try to think about how they're connected. You know, a project here, and then a project here, and how we can maximize our ability to maybe get several things done at once. It's just more cost effective for us and for the taxpayers.
Sure. We also have more than just road construction projects. There's also kind of an exciting project going on over at Lakeshore Park. It's a new Four Seasons Parks building.
It is, and a lot of people are asking me, "Hey, what's going on over there? What's being built there now?" And we have publicized this a little bit, but not everybody gets a chance to see all of our news releases or even social media updates. But we just wanted to take some time to let people know that this is the Four Seasons building that council approved, and I think it's really going to be a tremendous amenity for the citizenry and our community. It's just going to be a beautiful building that I think can be used for casual use purposes, but also maybe even more formal purposes. You know,
possibly
if people wanted to have some sort of a formal activity, like maybe a wedding reception or a special anniversary for someone, to celebrate that. The venue is very beautiful right there in the water, and the building, plans and renderings that we have are just really impressive.
Well, it's coming along, so it's neat to see the progress happening over there.
It is, and we're struggling with a lot of the supply chain issues that a lot of other businesses are as well, and private citizens that are working on home building, but I think we're making some pretty good progress there.
I think so. And we also wanted to note that Oshkosh Public Works Director James Robbie has recorded an informational video that highlights the 2023 proposed capital improvements plan that can be accessed through the city's website, the Public Works Capital Improvements page. So folks can learn a lot more about what's being planned for next year, and they can take a look at the dashboard of upcoming projects. So just wanted to note that, and there are additional details that people can find there.
And for folks that haven't gone to that webpage, it's pretty cool. The functionality of it is pretty amazing. You can zoom in, look at your neighborhood, look at different plans, not only that are taking place right now, but also in the future. It's very interactive. I think for folks that haven't had an opportunity to look at it, I think they'd enjoy just taking some time with it.
Sure. All right. Well, another infrastructure-related topic. We just wanted to give an update on the Jackson and Oregon Street Bridge, just to let folks know where things are at. And really, there isn't any major news, but we just wanted to let people know that the parts that are needed to get that bridge functional are still in the manufacturing process.
Right. Just to refresh people's memory, after a routine inspection in May by the Department of Transportation, it was found that there was excessive wear on the gear teeth that are used to raise and lower the south leaf span of the bridge. And so when that was discovered, the DOT looked at what sorts of repairs were necessary. And unfortunately, there's a special gear that needs to be fabricated, and it's taking some time to get that done. We're hopeful that we can get this done at some point fall, hopefully by the end of September. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we're subject to a lot of supply chain issues too. And I know it's a little bit of an inconvenience for the traveling public, but if they could just bear with us a little bit longer. And I know City Manager Roloff and you, Andy, have talked about the new bridge that potentially will be constructed there at some point in the future, with probably in another, I don't know, 5 plus or minus years. So that's something that I think everyone is looking forward to.
Sure.
But for the time being, that's the bridge we have, and we want to make sure that it's not only operational but safe.
And we get our updates from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation because they are responsible for that bridge.
They are responsible. They have specialized engineers that just deal with bridges, so they're very familiar.
Yeah.
They have that technical expertise because they deal with bridges all over the state.
Okay.
So they have just a sense of what is appropriate, what's not appropriate, and you know, there's no substitute for that kind of experience and
Right.
technical knowledge. So we really need to rely on them for advice, and especially when it comes to a safety issue.
Sure. Okay. All right. Switching gears a little bit, we also wanted to note that the Oshkosh Parks Department, their office and operations have temporarily relocated. So
Right.
what's going on with that?
Right, I saw what you did with the gears thing too, Andy. That was pretty good. So yeah, the Parks Department, not only are they working on their Four Seasons building that we discussed earlier, but also they have not had an administration building for a long, long time. And they've been residing in a really used and pretty substandard building for quite some time. They have not only their offices there, but they have some of their maintenance, their arborists there, their work that when they need to repair vehicles and equipment there.
Right.
It's all housed in that kind of yellow building you see on the screen, and it's reached the end of its useful life.
It's inefficient at this point.
Absolutely. You know, the city got its money's worth out of that building, I think, a long, long time ago. And, you know, you kind of get a sense of what it's like in there. That was just a shot of the lunchroom where the employees have to eat their lunch. And it's just, you know, it's time for us to try to just put a higher quality facility in place so the employees can be efficient and safe, and you know, we can do a good job for the citizenry because that's what we're here for. So,
Right.
So I think everybody's looking forward to that new building. In the meantime, the Public Works Department, they're good neighbors, and they're housing temporarily the parks offices, and it looks like we have a rendering of you know, where that new location is. It's in our water distribution building.
Right. That's where our office operations have relocated.
Right.
So if folks need anything relating to, you know, reserving park shelters or
Yes.
things like that, they can just stop at that water distribution building, which is located at 757 West 3rd Avenue. It's kind of in that whole complex
Right.
there with Public Works.
Yep.
Stop in there and they'll be happy to help you out.
We're hoping it's gonna, you know, be about a year before that's completed, if there are no delays. But in the meantime, this is the location, and it's my understanding that the telephone numbers haven't changed. Here's a shot also of what the new building is going to look like. So it's been a long time coming, you know, for those folks. And
Absolutely.
I think it'll really be a nice opportunity for them to be more efficient and work in a facility they can really be proud of.
Right, you bet, you bet. And that phone number for the Parks Department, if you need any of their services, is 236-5080. And their hours are the same as they were before, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m., just in a different location.
Right.
For right now. Okay. All right. And then, you know, talking still about Public Works topics, some letters have gone out to residents about private side lead water service line replacement. And so folks are able to get their pipes checked if they'd like to check and see if they have lead service line or not.
Right, right. And for people that aren't familiar with this, lead pipes were banned in 1986 by the EPA. And although many homes weren't using lead pipes, probably right around after World War II. If you have a home that was built before 1988, there still could be a chance that you may have some lead pipes. And we want to make sure that people are aware that, you know, this is something that is, you know, could be dangerous for them and their family, and that we have programs to help replace those lead lines. So we'd like to make sure that we get the word out for people to understand that, you know, there could be a safety risk for them because they may not be aware of this, and also that you know, they can give us a call to schedule a service line check, and then, you know, learn more about, you know, what assistance might be available for them.
Right. There are programs for reimbursement. So,
Absolutely.
So they can get some info on that.
Right.
And also, folks can look at the Oshkosh Farmers Market. The Public Works will have a booth over at the Farmers Market on Saturday, Saturday, August 20th. And that phone number also, if people like to just call, is 232-5336 if they like to schedule a service line check for their home.
The farmers market has been really gracious, providing us opportunities to, you know, give information to the public, because I think they enjoy just the casual nature of being able to walk up and talk to somebody about their circumstances and then receive information. So, you know, it's just another way to try to reach people, and we hope they take advantage of it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, changing over to a different topic, still sort of a parks related a little bit, is that we still have some summer events that are coming up. One of those is Brews on the Bay at Menomonee Park. Right.
I think that's been a relatively new event, but it's been extremely popular. And the idea behind that, I know Parks Director Maurer has done a tremendous amount of research about beer gardens and also access to water. And I know in Milwaukee County this is very, very popular, the city of Milwaukee. And so it's something that I know he spent a good deal of time researching, taking a look at, and thinking about how this might be something that citizens in Oshkosh might enjoy. So he and his staff have worked very hard to try to provide, you know, opportunities for people to sample craft beers, work with businesses in the area so they could showcase some of their craft beer, because Oshkosh has a rich heritage with beer and beer drinking. So there's some live music out there. We also have some food trucks out there, and we've had really some pretty good crowds. People, you can see from the video, you know, people have come. It's a family event. It's very friendly, and people have come out to Menomonee and just kind of relaxed and taken in the music and enjoyed the circumstances. So,
yeah. Well, we encourage folks to come down there, and also just wanted to note that the Oshkosh Parks Department Facebook page has a lot more information about which performers will be there, the food trucks, and what sorts of activities are available. So we encourage folks to check that out.
Right.
Okay, and then also we have Labor Day coming up, John, and we just wanted to note that there's some service changes with city services.
Sure. Just for everybody's information, there won't be any garbage or recycling collection on Monday the 5th. Collections for the remainder of the week will be one day later, and I think people are familiar with that methodology. Collection for Friday the 9th moved to Saturday the 10th. The yard waste drop-off site will also be closed, but it'll reopen on Tuesday the 6th. Go Transit, for example, will not have a service on the 5th. And if you need to get to City Hall, the public library, the museum will all be closed on Monday the 5th.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for those updates.
Sure.
And I think we're out of time for our first half, so we'll take a short break. And if you stay with us, we'll have some highlights from the upcoming council meeting agenda. We'll be right back.
Any idea how fast you were going today?
You speed, you lose. Slow it down in Wisconsin, or we'll do it for you. Zero in Wisconsin, a vision we can all live with.
And welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig along with Assistant City Manager John Fitzpatrick. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming August 23rd Oshkosh Common Council meeting. And John, the meeting will be starting off with a workshop session on the Clearwell Project, and that's down by Menomonee Park, kind of over by Lake Winnebago.
Right, and for folks that may not be familiar with this topic or even what a Clearwell is, we use Lake Winnebago for the drinking water for the city of Oshkosh. And our water filtration plant is located right on the shores of Lake Winnebago. It looks like we have a picture of that right there. And one of the ways historically that we have taken the water, treated the water, stored the water for use has been to use underground storage tanks that are called Clearwells. And in the recent past, the DNR has evaluated, how, if municipalities happen to use that technique, what they want to make sure, first of all, that it's safe. And anytime you are storing water underground, if people that have their own wells know, there's the potential for groundwater contamination if that water is not sealed properly.
Right.
So the purpose of this workshop and some of the work that's been done already by staff and also been discussed by council is to try to evaluate how that can be done, because the clear wells we have are reaching the end of their useful life, how we are going to store that water in the future. There's been some concerns expressed by citizens because it's in that area, Menomonee Park, which is very beautiful. If we have to go above ground as a result of changing the storage options, they don't want that to interfere with the beauty of the park, the views of the lake. On the other hand, what options might be safe and what options might be allowed by the DNR, those are factors that have to be considered, the costs of the project. So this workshop is designed to talk about further dialogue that we've had with the DNR, further dialogue that we've had about different options about maybe potentially reusing those clear wells. Are they still safe? What sort of risks would they pose if we did use them for example, another underground option? So that's really the purpose of this workshop, to try to have more dialogue on that and make sure that we make the right decision for everybody involved, because we want it to be as safe as possible for our citizenry.
And the DNR is central to all of this discussion, so
absolutely
they will be providing input with this and let us know where things are at. And just to remind folks, there's no decision being made here. This is an informational update.
Right. That's right.
Okay. All right. Very good. And we have several things on the agenda today that are water related. Another one coming up in the consent agenda is about extending some utilities over to, I believe it's Ripon Lane.
Right. That's an amendment to our capital improvements program. And you're right, it is water related. It's we have some citizens out there that have some private wells that happen to be failing. And they've come to us and said, hey, we need your help with this. Would you be able to extend utilities into our area? And that's something that we deal with routinely. So we were just talking about safe drinking water earlier in the show with lead pipes, and now our clear wells, and then this is just another facet of our responsibility to try to make sure that we make it as safe as possible for our citizens, and we're happy to help with that.
Okay. And then we also have an agenda item relating to dedications of widening of South Main Street. And this has to do with the Sawdust District and some of the new development over in that area. And it's also tied in with another agenda item that's coming up later.
Right, yes. This is very exciting. And this is a T-wall development. I think you and City Manager Roloff have talked about that in the past programs. But looks like we have an artist rendering of that development project. It's my understanding that that project is slated to begin this fall or in the spring of 2023. And it's going to take place over 5 to 7 years. It's going to be a pretty huge project,
I'd say.
So there are going to be a variety of things there. It's a mixed-use project. There's going to be shopping options available there. I believe there's going to be restaurant options available there, and also residential options available there for the citizenry. I think there's been dialogue about a potential dog park there that could be used. You can see the Riverwalk extension there on the rendering. But this is extremely exciting because it's projected to be an $80 to $90 million development. And for people that are familiar with South Main, that's kind of one of the areas that we're really focusing on to try to update from the bridge really down to as far as we can go past the new Oshkosh Arena that we established there. So it's kind of one of the last areas, I think, of Oshkosh that is in need of renewal,
Sure.
yes, to say it. But it's very exciting. It's going to be a beautiful facility, so we're looking forward to that.
Okay, well, this is just another step in that process.
Right?
All right, and then in consent agenda, we have several different items coming up, one of which happens to be a fundraiser for the Special Olympics, and this is working with our own Oshkosh Police Department.
It is. We have a variety of summer events that are winding down, but there's plenty of fall and winter events that are taking place, and this is one that I know is very important for Special Olympics, and our police officers are very happy to help with this and have helped with this for many, many years. So it's a great opportunity for us to interact with the public, help a great organization, and our police officers look forward to this event every year. Not only our officers, but everybody that works in the police department. So if you have an opportunity to participate, it's a tremendous cause, and it's very heartwarming to know how this is impactful for a variety of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And then later on the agenda, we have some new ordinances, and we have an ordinance that encourages native plantings.
Right. I think this is something that has been discussed in a variety of boards and commissions for the city, and also it was discussed at the Plan Commission. This won't be acted upon at this meeting, but it's a future item that we just wanted to let people know is on the horizon. And I think it's another positive development. I think I've lived in Wisconsin my whole life, and I think I'm guilty of maybe taking for granted the beauty of the landscape that Wisconsin has to offer. But integrating a variety of different native plantings into our development initiatives, it's very important. So I think it's going to be a great addition.
Okay, very good. And then also under new resolutions, we have a couple of finance-related topics. One is to approve a debt policy, and it looks like we are reducing the amount of debt limit that we're using against state money, but we're also seeing growth in our equalized value.
Exactly right, Andy. I couldn't have said it better. I think there's 3 phases that are planned. Originally, we wanted to get below 70%, then 60%, and then in the future, we want to get below 40%. The other item that's on the agenda really talks about Long Range's recommendation for us to address our facilities maintenance planning. There's $65 million worth of projects that have been identified, and I think Finance Director Van Gompel and his staff have done a tremendous job working on this, and also the Long Range Finance Committee, their charge is to make sure that we move forward in a prudent way and not defer anything that is going to hurt us long term.
Okay, and we wanted to point out that the second budget workshop meeting is coming up on August 30th.
Right, and I'll be involved in that because we'll be talking about wages and benefits, so I'm looking forward to sharing more information with everyone, and along with Finance Director Van Gompel on the 30th.
Okay, and just a quick teaser, there's an item at the end of the meeting talking about a potential pedestrian bridge going over Interstate 41.
That's right. I wish we could say more, but one thing we know for sure, it'll be between Highway 21 and Highway 44.
All right.
So we can narrow it down that far.
Well, thanks, Ryan, for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks.